Hello and welcome back to Wargame with me, Gary. This is an update and I'm going to show you what I'm working on at the moment. I've now decided on a colour scheme and who are going to be which troops. So the ones I'm going to show you now are going to be my Babylonian army, and I've been slowly finding out more information about this army, although to be fair, it's quite hard to get the information I need. So uniforms are very difficult. Generally, they wear, from what I can read and from what I've been reading, they wear a very similar dress to the ancient Assyrians. So I'm just going to bring this guy forward. Do I need to adjust a little bit? Now, not much. Now. Okay, so let's bring all these guys forward. Okay. So these there's 6 chaps I'm working on here, and they're all they've got their base coats on. I've done the wash on the dress here, on the tunic, I should say, on the flesh, also on the desert. I've picked out the helmet and the spear are almost finished. So they're up to that point. These, as you can see here, all the rest. So what I tend to do is I pick out 6 and finish them, then do a little bit on all the other figures. And what I'm going to do on these guys will be, so these ones at the back here, on the mounted figures, or will be mounted, and the slingers and the rest of the spearmen back there, I'm going to work on their beards next. So I've done all their eyes and their pupils, the flesh tones, that's all done. So as soon as these guys are finished to completion, I'll work on them and get them up to date with like the beards, and then I'll take out 6 more spearmen and paint them up to completion. So that gives you an idea of what I do. Now, what I have found out about the Babylonians in general was originally they weren't very organised. They weren't very disciplined troops, and they became very disciplined eventually. But it took the wars that they had with Assyria, who were very disciplined and disciplined very quickly. They seemed to have a inept understanding of how to win wars. So they were very disciplined, and I think the Babylonians, the Chaldanians, the Medes or the Meds, the Persians, I think they all benefited from their contact, their contact with the ancient Assyrians. I'm giggling a little bit because they didn't benefit because the Assyrians were being nice. Far from it. I mean, they had some disastrous defeats. And many of these people were put into slavery. So but from adversity, as the saying goes, they certainly came back and were virtually the end of the Assyrian Empire. So but what I have been doing, like I said, I've been doing a lot of reading. Just moved over all those spears, that's great, isn't it? I've been doing a lot of reading, and I've also come across a research site on the internet called, what is it? Academia EDU Community. Now, I've got to say, it's like, for me, this has been really beneficial. I'm going to read a tiny little piece from a large piece. And it's Warfare at the Dawn of History by Mark Schwartz, and it says here, so if you remember, in a previous catch-up I did, I talked about a chap called Tudia, who was, as far as we know, the first king of ancient Syria. Now, he was running around and causing havoc all over the place in 2450 to possibly 2400 BC. So I've picked out this bit specifically because it talks about the early dynastic period from 2900 BC to 2340 BC. So you can see that this would be the period when Tudela would be around. You know, like there's a 50-year period where within that time zone when he's going to be wheeling and dealing and trying to keep out of everybody's way whilst they give each other a damn good shellacking. So I'll read this bit from Mark Schwartz just to give you a clearer understanding of what was going on at that time. So it says, during the preceding period of 2900 and 2340 BC, Mesopotamia was dominated by the major regional centre of Uruk. Uruk, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, U-R-U-K, in the 3rd millennium BC. Urbanism spread throughout the southern regions, with many competitive city-states emerging. Each of these states had their own patron deities, and throughout the period the strength of military rulers grew as warfare became more frequent. Enormous advances in military technology were made at this time in the response to the ever-present need for better weapons and armour. One of the most well-documented conflicts was the dispute between the neighbouring cities of Lagash and Umma. Umma is spelled U-M-M-A, Umma. Over territorial rights. The conflict dragged on for over a century, with supremacy transferring from one city to another, until eventually Lagash was conquered by Umma. So that's just a very small part of what was going on, but possibly one of the more recognised periods. And I'm finding, you know, like reading these bits of text very interesting, but especially interesting because this website provides lots and lots. There's pictures here of the types of troops who fought then. So there you go with colour schemes that I'll be able to use. And there is, I mean, that bit of research I read there is from a very large piece of research, but it is specific to the area that I've decided to concentrate on first, which will be King Tudela. So that's that's the Assyrians that I'm working on over there, or the Babylonians I should say. I'm just going to spin this camera around. I seem to have two let me just move that around so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, and you can see here, so I've got down here, I've got some shields I'm working on, and here, I don't know if you can see, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. Loads and loads of orcs. Look at all these wonderful looking orcs. Some are from Renegade, and these ones at the back are from Black Tree Designs. There's more Black Tree back there, there's some boars there, more orcs there, and then I don't know if you can see, just there are some horses for the Babylonian cavalry. Some horses I'm working on. There are some more, there'll be Chaldeans, Amorites, all sorts of stuff going on over there. And then if we just go over here, there are some Persians here. So yeah, you can see there's quite a lot I'm working on at the moment. Let me bring that back to me. Yeah, so quite a lot I'm working on at the moment. I want to try and get those Babylonians painted up as quickly as possible. I'm also going to be doing some more work on my Frankie videos. So I hope that was enjoyable, and I'll be sharing some more stuff later. So all the very best then. Take care. Bye.